My name is Isabella Vaughn, and if there's one truth I understood from the very beginning of my life, it was this: love, in the wrong hands, could be sharpened into a weapon. I didn't learn that through books or quiet lessons whispered over tea. I learned it on a bitter January afternoon, when the wooden steps of our house had been glazed in a thin layer of ice that hissed beneath my socks like the warning of something waiting to strike. Evan was standing at the landing above me, grinning the way boys grin when they believe the world will always catch them before they fall. I balanced a heavy laundry basket against my ribs, asked him to move aside. He didn't move. Instead, he leaned his shoulder into me, a gesture that carried the appearance of playfulness, but none of the mercy. The basket cracked against the banister as my feet slid. The rail blurred in my vision. The air tore from my lungs, and then came the bone-deep scream of my left arm as I hit the bottom. It shrieked like metal twisting in a violent storm. By the time our parents returned from the driveway, Evan was already sobbing, big, convincing tears. He said he tried to help me. He said I had slipped. His performance gleamed so brightly that it drowned me out. My mother rubbed his back and told me not to make it worse by stirring things up. My father pressed a plastic bag of frozen peas against my wrist and told me to be more careful next time. Evan sniffled between them, perfectly tucked where he belonged, while I sat on the cold tile floor, learning for the first time how to bury pain inside myself, so deeply that it made no sound. That became the rhythm of our household. Evan created chaos, and I cleaned up the silence afterward. He cut classes and called them sick days. He stole money from Dad's wallet and labeled it an emergency. He insulted our mother and laughed it off as a harmless joke. I learned quickly that if I disappeared before anyone told me to, the house stayed calmer. My voice stayed quiet. My footsteps grew soft enough that even the creaky floor forgot me. Years later, people asked me where I came from as though a woman arrives fully formed, spine forged from steel. I tell them I came from those stairs, from that moment at the bottom when I decided to stop pleading my case to a jury that had already gone home. So when I describe what happened the day my family barged into my home like it belonged to them, understand this: I already knew that feeling. The air changes first. Then arrive the rules you never agreed to. And then someone you love reaches for something you've built. Something you've bled for. Evan's charm was blinding. The kind that worked like a stage light. It dazzled whoever looked his way and left the rest of us in shadows. I didn't stand a chance. In every family photo, he stands square in the middle, smiling as if he knew the photographer personally. And me, I'm always off to the side, clinging to my sweater hem, bracing for the next blow. At school, teachers adored him. At home, our parents forgave him before he even opened his mouth. If Evan stayed home from class, it was because he needed rest. If I stayed home sick, it was because I wasn't tough enough. I realized early that protesting only painted me as the problem. Our house wasn't large, but it was endlessly loud. Voices carried through every wall, filling every corner. My bedroom became my sanctuary. I kept the door locked when I could, headphones pressed tightly over my ears, music turned high enough to drown out the chaos. Still, Evan barged in whenever he wanted, drawers pocketing what he liked, tossing what he liked, tossing the rest to the floor. Complaining only won me accusations of drama. Birthdays showed the difference most clearly. His day meant friends, music so loud the walls pulsed, a cake that barely fit on the counter. My day meant a gift card slid across the table after dinner, a mumbled happy birthday before everyone returned to whatever mattered more. It wasn't the lack of gifts that stunk, it was the message carved into the silence, that I was an afterthought in my own family. By 17, the idea of staying felt like suffocation. One night, I stuffed my life into 2 duffel bags and walked out. The air outside was razor-thin, cold, but alive. I slept on friends' couches until even those offers ran out. When they did, I stayed awake in all-night diners, nursing 1 cup of coffee for hours, counting minutes until sunrise. When the last of my money vanished, I bought a battered camper shell for my truck. It leaked when it rained, smelled faintly of mold, rattled with every gust of wind, but it was mine. I could finally close a door and know no one would enter without my permission. It wasn't freedom, not fully, but it was my first fragile taste of it. The camper taught me survival. Grocery parking lots that didn't tow, a gym membership for showers, a cooler stocked with the cheapest food I could find, duct tape for leaks, scrap vinyl for patches. I learned no one was coming to rescue me, and maybe that truth was its own kind of gift. Work came unexpectedly. A friend's friend mentioned a distribution warehouse outside Portland. The pay was rough, the hours brutal, but it was steady. The manager, Ron, noticed my camper parked out back but said nothing. That silence was the kindest thing I had been given in months. I worked every overtime shift, every weekend. When winter hit, Ron let me run a cord inside to power a tiny heater. I offered to work Sundays for free in exchange. He waved me off. I worked them anyway. Bit by bit, I rebuilt that camper into something livable. Insulation stuffed against the drafts, bald tires replaced, a tarp stretched across the roof. On rainy nights, I sat inside with instant coffee, listening to the roof drum without leaks. It was imperfect, but it was mine. Months later, a scrap of paper pinned in the break room caught my eye. A small house listing, 3 bedrooms, peeling, siding, crooked front step. My hand tore the number from the wall before my brain caught up. The house wasn't perfect, its siding was weathered gray. Its steps sagged, but when I walked inside, the air smelled of dust and pine, and light pooled across the floor like it had been waiting for me. I drained my savings for the down payment. When I signed the papers, my hands shook. Sitting in my truck afterward, I cried not from sorrow but from the release of years I hadn't known I was carrying. I moved in with nothing but blankets and a heater, slept on the floor. It was peace, stiff-necked but real. I parked the truck in back, lowered the camper off, scrubbed it, patched it, covered it, and tucked it against the fence. It wasn't just storage, it was proof of the ground I had clawed myself up from. On impulse, I posted a photo of the porch light with the caption, "Built this life from the back of a truck." I expected nothing but a few quiet likes. Instead, it became the breadcrumb that led my family to me. One Saturday morning, the knock came sharp and demanding. I opened the door to find Evan, smirking, Lydia beside him. Our parents behind. They didn't ask for my address, yet here they were, stepping inside like invited guests. They drifted through the house, inspecting walls, laughing. My mother's voice dripped sugar. "You've got a lot of space for just one person." My father opened cabinets like they belonged to him. Evan lingered at the door, smiling. "We'll talk soon. I've got something you'll want to hear." The next day, he came alone. He sat in my kitchen chair and explained, as if it were obvious, this house made sense for them. Closer to his job, better schools. Lydia was pregnant again. They'd take the master bedroom. I could move back into the camper. I had lived there before, hadn't I? Something in me hardened. I looked him dead in the eyes. "No," I said. His smile faltered. I repeated it. "You're not moving in. You're not taking what you didn't earn." For the first time, he realized I meant it. But days later, I came home to find my key wouldn't fit the lock. Evan's truck was parked outside. Through the window, Lydia stacked boxes. They hadn't been planning to move in. They already had. I knocked. Evan answered, waving a forged lease. Lydia smirked, claiming I had left the door open. I called the police, recording everything. The officers believed the deed in my hand, not the scribbled forgery. They forced them out, box by box. Lydia cursed me all the way. When the door shut, I locked it twice, breathing in the silence. Mine again. Word spread. Lydia had been unfaithful. A test proved one child wasn't Evan's. Their marriage collapsed. Lydia vanished to Arizona, leaving Evan behind with kids. He returned to our parents' house. But the boy who once filled every room with noise now sat quiet. One evening, he appeared on my porch. Not to demand, to ask. "It's for Noah," he said softly. "He can't sleep at Mom and Dad's." His eyes drifted to the camper in my yard. I let him stay there, but with rules. No visitors, no chaos. He signed his name beneath them. Soon, I heard a soccer ball in the yard. Children's laughter spilling like it had always belonged. One night, I found Evan inside the camper, shoulders shaking. "I ruined everything," he whispered. "I ruined you too." I didn't tell him he was wrong. I let silence be the answer. Later, my parents came. No speeches, just my mother's quiet words. "We were wrong. You didn't deserve it." For the first time, I believed her, because the truth is this: justice isn't payback. Justice is standing in your own kitchen, hearing the steady hum of your own home, knowing that what they once tried to take still belongs to you.